Hey, welcome back, Knicks fans. Wanted to drop a quick video right before the draft. The Knicks are being connected to a lot of teams that are higher than us in the draft, and they're connected to the Kings, Detroit, Portland. Those are the three teams we're hearing the most about. The Kings, it seems like that's one the Knicks really want. They want Jaden Ivey, but it looks like the Kings want a King's ransom for it. They want us to give away everything in the cupboard. I don't know if that's going to work for the Knicks. Given the track record of this front office, they're pretty frugal when it comes to like acquiring, getting players on this team. They're very careful. They don't really overpay too much, and so it's really interesting, especially if you're talking about. I think the one thing with this team I noticed that they kind of realize is, and at least I hope they realize it. There's a difference between players you sign in free agency and players that you drafted that you brought up. The ones you drafted, you brought up. There's a lot invested in them. Those players you don't want to lose, right? You don't want to basically trade those players for like less than value for a player that's less talented. And so I think this front office realizes that, and so they're not going to mind trading people that they picked up, like let's say from free agency, possibly even like from a trade. So I'm thinking like honestly, I'm thinking Cam Reddish, given the way they played him last year, the fact that they just basically tucked him in towards the end of the bench. And so, but given their track record, I don't really think they overpay. So I don't know if Sacramento trade is going to work out. The one that seems interesting is possibly Detroit and possibly the Portland Trailblazers. This one here for the Portland Trailblazers talks about the New York Knicks offering Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, and the 11th pick for the number 7 overall. And people are clowning this, right? And it's like, and I'm thinking, like, what's so funny about this, right? What were they clowning it for? Everyone is acting like the players beyond the fourth pick are basically are going to be great NBA players or even good NBA players. It's really up in the air once you get past the fourth pick. But like if you get lucky, you get, let's say, Benedict Mathurin is at 7. Are you really sure Benedict Mathurin is going to be a good player in the NBA? I mean, he can't go off the dribble and create for himself. He can shoot off the dribble from three. He's shown that, right? Which is really good. However, basically going off the dribble, he can't do that. It's not what he can do. He can't create for himself, can't create for others. And so I'm not sure what people are seeing, what they think, why they would even clown this offer, right? And Benedict Mathurin is out of everyone below the fourth pick. He might be considered like the most talented, the one everyone else really wants, right? But yet, people are clowning it as though like clowning our offer as though the Portland Trailblazers would be stupid to take it. We're slightly overpaying because like everything below the fourth is like you're not sure what's going to happen. You're less sure about all the players below the fourth pick, right? And the only one, honestly, the only one below the fourth pick that I do think is going to be pretty good that everyone is overlooking because of the supposedly lack of athleticism is Johnny Davis. They don't really look at I don't think people are really paying attention to his games very well because like his ability to finish and to rise above through traffic. He's not the most athletic, but he can rise above through traffic, like let's say in a half court setting. I've seen him do that. I've seen Jaden Ivey. I've seen him basically in a half court setting, split the dance, he rise up and dunk the ball, right? But not like through like, someone like right next to him. And I'm sure he can do that anyway. But Benedict Mathurin is the one where, I'm not really sure, right? Half court setting, is that athleticism really going to work in his favor, right? In a half court game. Johnny Davis, I think, regardless of how you want to play, I think he's going to be fine. The only problem with Johnny Davis is very tunnel vision. That's the one thing I noticed about him. I wasn't sure I really liked. He's very tunnel vision, and that's a concern. But if you look at this kid's stats, he's good on defense. He's good on offense. He rebounds very well. I mean, this kid is a stat stuffer. So, but going back to the original point, people clowning this offer, it just doesn't make any sense to me because like um, I'm sure if Portland Trailblazers, they get the 11th pick, there's a good chance whoever they pick at the 11th pick is going to be better than who we pick at the 7th. I mean, that's just being real, given like what we're looking at and the lack of information we have on a lot of these players because we just haven't seen them play at the next level, right? And so it's not that silly of an offer. It's actually the Knicks, and the Knicks don't mind overpaying in a sense because like they're offering two proven players plus the 11th pick, but they didn't draft these players, right? These are people they signed in free agency, and so I don't think they mind moving on from them. Plus, the Knicks are trying to shed some of these veterans so they can make way for the younger guys, right? And that's what they at least they should be doing. I hope that's what they're doing. And so it's really interesting. We'll see what happens there. The Knicks are being linked to not just a lot of teams in the draft. They've been linked to players. I'm hearing Kyrie Irving. Oh Lord, I hope they don't get Kyrie Irving. And so it's really interesting with all the players and the teams they're being linked to. The one thing that it kind of makes me think of is like, okay, this is year three. They can't have the same season they had last year. Last year, actually, to tell you the truth, they weren't like horrendous, right? It's To us it was horrendous, mostly because of like it was frustrating to watch the coach and what the coach's decisions, the decisions he's made, and also actually the lack of decision, not making adjustments in games, not even making adjustment throughout the season to the lineup. He just stuck to the same formula, stuck to the same players the whole season until basically it was too late when he actually had better options on the bench. And so that was what was frustrating. But if they have another season like that and the Knicks underperform, don't make the playoffs, I think Dolan is going to clean house. And so I think that's why I think what all these rumors signal is like they're being aggressive. I think they are being aggressive and they're going to do something. They need to find a way to improve the roster, number one. And number two, hopefully the coach does a better job. If the coach doesn't improve and do a better job, and the Knicks suck this year, especially the first. Firing the coach halfway through the season is not going to save this front office. That was the move they should have made last year in the midseason. If it doesn't work out with Thibodeau and Thibodeau's doing the same thing, you might as well not fire him. You might as well stand course at that point because you firing Thibodeau, unless you get another coach that's going to basically turn it around and get them into the playoffs, firing Thibodeau is not going to help them at all. I think, it's not going to help the front office, especially if the Knicks don't make the playoffs. So unless they know they can find a better coach, I wouldn't even bother trying to fire Tom Thibodeau mid season. Honestly, last season, the time to do it was last season. That's why I was very adamant about it because I want some kind of continuity for this organization. And, and I know it sounds crazy because then I want continuity, but I want the coach to get moved or to them to let go of the coach in year two. However, the problem is if the coach basically has a repeat performance in year three and the Knicks suffer, everyone it's going to be worse because I think Dolan is essentially going to clean house, right? And so that's that. I think that's why they are being extremely aggressive this year, and I do hope they get who they want, right? And so let's take a look at the roster that we have, guys on the contract. We have Alec Burks, Quentin Grimes, Miles McBride, Emmanuel Quickly, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, Taj Gibson, Farron Hunt, Obi Toppin, Julius Randle, Ernest Noel, and Jericho Sims. Like right off the bat, we already know it seems like they might be trying to move Alec Burks and they're trying to move clearly Nerlens Noel, right? So that's two right off the bat. I think obviously they're going to try to move Kemba Walker as well. They're not really talking about it, but Kemba Walker's not. I don't see him being on this roster when the season opens in October 2022. So he's also going to be gone. I think another person that could be gone that they might like it might be a little interesting. I don't know. I think a contender may go for Evan Fournier, and the contender I'm thinking about is probably more like a Cleveland. I think Cleveland might go for Evan Fournier. So I don't know if they're going to try to trade him this also, if they're going to wait during the season, but that's going to be interesting. From what people are saying, I remember I listened to a few videos by Raw Hebrew, and he talked a lot about Cam Reddish being possibly a trade piece, and that actually makes sense, right? Which is unfortunate. I think he's going to be a very talented player, but given the fact that the coach didn't really want him, the coach had any interest in really playing him meaningful minutes last year. I don't know if they keep him because honestly, Cam Reddish, he's a professional. He's very quiet. He's probably already told them like, "Hey, look, I don't want to stay with these guys. They may not have any interest in playing me." So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to trade him again. Hopefully to a team that does want his services. Fahrenheit, I don't even know if this guy's going to be on the team next year, but we'll see. And of course, the only other the elephant in the room is Julius Randle. What are they going to do with Julius Randle, right? It's clear that he's probably going to be on a roster when we open up the season next year, and that's going to be tough for him. That's very tough for Julius Randle. He's going to have to come prepared next year, and he's going to have to come ready to play. He's going to have to come in shape. He's going to have to come playing defense because I just don't see a way that he can step a foot on that court and not perform. You know, if he comes steps on that court and doesn't perform the way uh, the fans want him to perform. And the crazy thing about it, he doesn't have to. It's not like he needs to shoot 50% from the field and be first team All NBA. Like, he shoot like 43%, right? It doesn't have to be extremely great on offense. It's really about the defense and the effort that he's putting forward. If he can do that, if he can change it and start putting in better effort on the defensive end and try to work on his body language on the court, I think, I really think he'll be fine. But it's mostly the defense because you can really see it. And people were like, I know some people are kind of tough on the Garden crowd, saying like, we can be a little tough, but you got to watch some of those games in person. It's like it's so obvious. Like it's like it's crazy. It's pretty crazy to watch it where he'll miss a layup and because he didn't get a call, he just won't get back on defense. Or if he turns over the ball, he won't get back on defense. He won't run back. And so it's kind of like it's seeing it on TV is one thing, but it's actually crazier when you see it in person. It's like so it's so I think that's the thing with the Garden crowd. I think they just want him to basically play defense and hustle. And if he improves on efficiency next year, it'll be a bonus, and I think the Garden will be happy. But it's really about his defense. That's the biggest thing, right? But the other thing that the issue with him too is like Obi Toppin. Like it's almost like all the fans, all the faithful are now realizing, okay, Obi Toppin, he's a player. He can play in this league, right? What do we have with this kid? I've always been like, big on Obi. I've made videos about him talking about how I feel like he is a better player than Julius because of his efficiency numbers. I think, there was a lot people weren't seeing. Like, it's crazy because it's like people felt like he wasn't talented, but the kid is shooting like 52% from the field. Not to rehash what I was saying last year, but you know, you can say when you have someone, let's say if Obi Toppin was shooting like let's say 42% from the field or 40%, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I agree. Like maybe he's not very good, um, or maybe he may not be that great. But if the dude is shooting 52%, I don't care how he's shooting the 52%. If he's getting it mostly on dunks, a lot of times he's basically getting on a half court offense. Yes, he was getting a lot of dunks early in the season, but did you guys, he was scoring in half courts. His 3-point shot came back. He became more confident. But basically, that higher percentage is signaled good decision making. It signals somebody who's actually a very efficient player who makes good decisions on offense. That's why I've always felt he was a better player. And then also, he's actually a better passer than Julius Randle. Julius Randle can get you open shots, especially at the 3-point line. But you rarely see Julius Randle get one of his teammates open layups. Obi Toppin gets you that. He gets you open layups sometimes, right? He knows how to throw lobs. He can pass to the 3-point line if he breaks down the defense, right? And also his movement off the ball. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hand all the time. He doesn't have to beat the air out of it. Obi Toppin, the way he plays is he gets the ball, he makes a decision, right? forces makes a quick decision. Either he drives hard, right, collapses the defense. Either he's going to take the shot or bounce it out, or he's going to basically get the ball right and pass it. He's very quick and decisive in the way he plays on offense, and that really helps the offense a lot. It really helps the keep the offense moving. But with Julius Randle, obviously he beats the air out of the ball, and he's trying to pound. And hope when double team comes, then he kicks it out to somebody at the 3 point line. So it's and that's what it is. And so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, should really consider playing both of them on the floor more. I think it'll help really alleviate a lot of the stress for Julius Randle, right? Because a lot of fans are basically they don't want Julius Randle because they think Obi is something and he's a player and he's going to be better. And so that's added stress for Julius Randle. They can help alleviate that by playing both of them together. And it actually may help the offense a lot because Obi can play small ball five, right? Helps keep the floor, stretch the floor. And so then Julius can do what he has to do, right? Because now you have Obi at the 3 point line. You have to respect his shooting ability. And it's not Mitch or Nerlens Noel in there kind of clogging the paint. And so, it might actually work out better for Julius Randle. But, the team and the coach have to be committed to playing both of them at the same time. And honestly, if Julius Randle comes back, plays defense, is in shape, look, I mean, you got to give a guy credit when he does well. Last year was really frustrating and maddening to watch. Really gave him a lot of, I really gave him benefit of the doubt early in the season. I think I didn't jump off the Julius Randle bandwagon until I want to say end of December, maybe around December, where I just kind of okay, there's a problem here. But definitely gave him a lot of chance. But hopefully we get a much better Julius Randle in 2022, 2023. The other elephant in the room I want to discuss is basically the offensive efficiency of our players. So right here we got basically a picture of our two top guns on this team, right? There's Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. These are basically who we're running the offense through. Okay, that's fine. Julius Randle, I do hope he has a better year. If he has a good year, the Knicks have a great year. RJ Barrett, I hope he has a good year. If he has a good year, the Knicks have a good year. But the problem is both of these guys are shooting like 41% from the field. You know, as much as I'm on the RJ Barrett train as well. I think I've seen a lot of really good things from him. I've seen stretches where he's played well and shot efficiently. However, it needs to be consistent. It can't be you go through a stretch where you have a stretch of 6 or 7 games where you shoot 45%, and then you have like a 20 game stretch where you're shooting like freaking 38% or some nonsense like that. It's like I think with RJ Barrett, we need to. He's a young kid. He's still very young, and he can be much better. He's got quite a ways to go, and he's young. I get it. He's 22 years old, right? But this is coming up now is going to be his fourth season. In his fourth season, if he's still shooting like 41% from the field his fourth season, I mean, I think then at that point people need to be concerned. I know everyone thinks he's got this great work ethic and he's putting in the work. I don't know if he's putting in the work. Would he be shooting 41% from the field and shooting like what is like maybe 68-70% from the free throw line? He might be putting in some work. I'm not saying he's not putting in any work, but I don't think he's putting in the work he needs to put in on the shooting, and definitely not on the free throw either. And then with the free throw shooting, I think early in the season, I think some of it was early in the season he was playing both ways more. He was playing better defense early in the season, and so I think that probably contributed to his struggle on at the free throw line and also shooting. However, second half of the season, uh, you clearly saw, especially after January, he stopped. I want to say after January, basically from early February to the rest of the season, he just stopped playing defense. He just stopped. He would play defense basically in the fourth quarter if we needed to stop, right? But it's kind of silly, right? Because it's like, so you just let your man, or you don't put in the effort the rest of the, like basically 3.5 quarters that you're on the court, and then like the last 3 minutes, okay, let me lock down and try to stop my man from scoring. No, I mean you don't have to. You don't need to try to lock someone down and stop someone from scoring in the fourth quarter. Because it's a close game. Well, they have a lead. If you just play defense throughout the whole game, you would have a good lead, and then you wouldn't be worried about like that one stop or those two stops in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go, right? And so that's the big thing with these two guys. Efficiency need to improve. I know everybody loves RJ Barrett, but dude, like the stats don't lie. It's like he's shooting 41% from the field. I think he's very talented and he could still be an all-star. But again, like the fifth time, he's shooting 41% from the field. If you look at all the lists, top players under 25, all the lists of the best young players in the league who are considered the best young players. He's never on any of those lists. Why do you guys think he's not on any of those lists? The efficiency numbers are so bad and so low. His PER, productivity, PER gets dragged down because his efficiency numbers are so low. And so it's like people just need to come to that realization. A lot of us fans, And then the other thing with him too is like, I mean, he's clearly been watching Julius, right? And you know, and the games he was playing on defense last year, where he just stopped playing defense because I think it was because he basically realized, okay, he's going to be the man on offense. He's going to take over, and decide he doesn't really need to play defense anymore. Okay, fine. Let's see how far that gets you if you're shooting 41%. That's the thing people don't realize is like, like people complain, oh, the Knicks fans, they turn on their own. I mean, we turn on you if you don't put in the effort, if you don't play defense. You don't have to be all world offensive player. You could be marginal offensive player as long as you play defense. The Knicks are happy. A lot of these fans are happy. But if RJ Barrett, if he becomes the man and focal point on the offense and he's shooting 41% and then he's not playing defense, by the end of next year, the Garden Faithful, a lot of them are going to be like, you know what? I don't think he's going to be as good as we think. They're going to basically sour on him, and so, um, and look, like I again, want to reiterate, I like R.J. Barrett. I think he could be. He's got the tools to be a very good player, and even possibly to be an all-star. However, he needs to improve the efficiency numbers. He's not going to be an all-star. You can't be an all-star. I don't care. He averaged 20 points, but it's on 41% shooting. That's nothing. I mean, like, that's not that good. Anthony Edwards, this is his second year. Uh, he's shooting like, I think he's shooting over 45% from the field. And Anthony Edwards is a very, you would consider extremely erratic player. It's you would consider not very consistent, could be erratic, and honestly, he kind of gets the deer in headlights too when crunch time is there. I kind of noticed that with Anthony Edwards as well. Although that's the one thing Barrett has over him, he never has that deer in headlights look. However, like Anthony Edwards is a more efficient player than R.J. Barrett, and Anthony Edwards, this is only his second year. And other talented players too, people that you would consider talented, is the same thing. It's like if you're a talented player and you're going to be a future All Star, by year four you should not be shooting 41% from the field. And so, and if the Knicks are shooting, if our top guns, if we're running the offense through these two guys and they're shooting 41, 42% from the field, I have to look, guys, it's going to be the same result. If they shoot 41% from the field next year, not going to make the playoffs. We're going to be sub 500 again. And so that's where it squarely fell a lot on these two guys. And it will be on the coach. Like now, if the coach basically, with the season coming up, if these guys are shooting inefficiently, they're shooting low, they're shooting 41% from the field, even, early in the season, it's on the coach to try to find a way to get the ball to your efficient ball players, right? To get them in spots, to get them the easy buckets, get them the easy baskets. You need to get the ball to like your Obi Toppin, right? He's a more efficient player. He's a better decision maker than these two guys are. Clearly, Obi Toppin is clearly a better decision maker than these two. All right. You guys can cry about it, say I'm an idiot, but the numbers don't lie. That's why he shoots at high efficiency. You know, Obi Toppin, as terrible as he's shooting 52% from the field, and he's supposed to be a crappy player. And people think he's not really that good, right? If he wasn't really that good, he'll be shooting like 40%, right? He'll be scared. He'll be chucking up shots. He'll be shooting, like when he gets in the lane, the ball probably hit nothing but backboard. But that's not what's happening with Obi Toppin. He's shooting above 52% from the field. And, so that's what the coach will have to do. They got to find a way to get the ball to their more efficient players. And depending on who we get in this draft, if we do get lucky and we get this Jaden Ivey, Jaden seems like that he's going to be an efficient player as well, and he's actually a good playmaker. I think that's the one thing people are saying, like because he played quite a bit off ball, they're not sure. Jaden Ivey, I think, is a point guard. I've seen quite a bit of his games. When he does get on the ball, he's actually a very good playmaker. He's very good on the pick and roll, even not just in the pick and roll, just even running the offense. He be dropping dimes throughout the games, especially fast breaks, even on half court sets. He just does a very good job finding his teammates. He only averaged about 3.5 assists last year, but like I said, it's he wasn't on the ball a lot last year just because of the way the offense ran, and so it's if we can get him, I think that will definitely help us improve our efficiency quite a bit. And that's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And so if you got a Jaden Ivey on your team and he's the point guard, dynamic, a great, really great dynamic point guard, and then you got these two guys that like to beat the air out of the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year if they do get Jaden Ivey. But that's kind of a pipe dream. I don't know if that happens. We'll see. You know, Either way, I think the Knicks are going to end up with somebody pretty good in this draft, given the way how the decision makers are. A lot of people have been talking about this other player called Jalen Williams. Nice player. He could shoot nicely off the dribble. It's like his athleticism. I see it only in fast breaks, catching lobs. I don't see the athleticism in half court. I don't think he knows how to use his athleticism. So people that say he's athletic, yeah, he's athletic on fast break, but he can jump pretty well. But it's he can't use it in half court. I've seen enough of him to know he can't use it in half court, and then also he's really weak on the defensive end. He can get posted up pretty easily. He's not very strong. He gets lost in screens quite a bit. He's just not a strong defender. I mean, he's long, got really nice long limbs, so he's good at digging at balls and stuff like that. And he's probably going to be really good at playing the passing lanes. And I've seen analysis on him where he blocks perimeter shots quite a bit, which is also pretty good, right? So on the perimeter, he's going to be okay, but the NBA game is pretty physical, and it seems like when you get physical with him, you can actually get right by him. You can get by him pretty easily. And so that's the only thing with Jalen Williams. Um, and also the other thing with Jalen Williams, he can't really create off the dribble. I think a lot of people are just seeing some nice things about him, but uh, he can't create that well off the dribble, especially offense for himself, right? The one analysis I saw, they say he drives to the right, I mean to the left quite often, and then kind of uses the body to kind of body someone up and try to create separation that way to get a shot off. That's when he's basically trying to break the defense down and create for himself and get in the paint. And so, but with a Johnny Davis can kind of get up, finish through contact. He can finish with right, left hand. He can post you up. He can go off the dribble and shoot mid range. And so they're like and then he's also a very good defender. There's no holes in his with him on the defensive end. And so I think I just have a feeling the Knicks are going to get someone very good, very solid. They're not going to get someone who's weak on the defensive end. That's why I'm not sure they're going to go for Jalen Williams. Um, you know, so it's going to be really interesting. Like I said, they're going to get someone good, and it's going to be really exciting. And once they do, I haven't decided if I'm going to go to summer league yet. I'm really tempted. I want to, but if I go this year, I would want to bring the family. That's going to get expensive. You know what I mean? That's going to be expensive. I'm talking about, especially like, because I'll have to, like, Las Vegas is hot during that time of year. It is hot in the summer out there. And so it's going to have to be in a really good hotel that's really nice, where they have a lot to do, where they don't have to like leave. They don't have to really leave the hotel unless they're coming out. We're coming out to the game. But yeah, it's not cheap. But I got to make that decision to see if we're gonna do it or not, because we haven't taken any other vacation yet either. I mean, you guys know you don't take these kids somewhere during the summer. Like there might be a rebellion in the household. So you know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Talk to you guys again soon. Hopefully I get to go to summer league. We'll see how that goes. But I'll drop another video after the draft. Have a good day, guys.